Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and I'm also a doctoral student of psychology. Today, I want to talk about how to regain respect for yourself when an avoidant disrespects you. When somebody disrespects you, regardless of what it is, sometimes people who were not raised in an environment where they don't know how to set boundaries, they don't know how to respect themselves, what they do is they move in a very black and white way. And so they're going to think that respect means something it's not because they were not raised properly to understand what respect looks like. And I'm not saying it's your negligence as to why this happened, but typically it's because maybe your parents didn't teach you and they constantly crossed your boundaries to such a point where now you don't know what to do. And so often people who feel like they're being disrespected or not taken care of, they use very extreme measures. Example might be silent treatment, cutting people off, and they don't understand that an avoidant will not read that as respect. And so if they disrespect you, they might not realize it either because they're taught from their parents that talking in a very direct way is how they were taught. So they don't realize that by doing that, that's disrespectful towards you. And then you try to set that boundary, and that boundary becomes so extreme that they think, okay, you're just trying to get some sort of attention from me, or you're just trying to get me to react and I don't really know what you want. You're not being clear. And so because of this constant dynamic, a lot of couples are like in a back and forth type of situation. I'm not calling anyone out specifically. I know some of you guys have had consultation calls with me. You might think I'm calling you out specifically. If I didn't tell you this, it doesn't apply to you. However, if you feel like it does, you're welcome to watch the video, right? But it's to help everybody. It's not just the people I have calls with or that I see weekly or every now and again. It's just for anybody who might feel like this fits, okay? And if you want a call with me and you feel like that will help your dynamic or help you, that is pinned in the comments. And if that is not the best option for you, I also have an email service. A lot of you guys have sent me emails as well, and my emails are detailed. It's not like just one sentence. You guys know, right? It's like a page or two, sometimes 3 or 4, depending on the situation. So I'm not just, and it's usually in a PDF file. I'm not just giving you a very basic perspective. I care about all of my cases, right? I'm always caring about my cases. And if you want to book a call with me, you can write whatever you need in that box and I will read it. You guys know I will read it so that I can give you the most out of your time. Okay. And so how do you regain respect for yourself when an avoidant disrespects you? And what does this do for the relationship? It allows them to learn to respect you and their feelings for you become more prominent because respect and love is very close for avoidance. And so if they continuously disrespect you and you behave in a way that they don't understand is supposed to be responded with respect or what they might think is more respectful, the relationship is just going to be back and forth and very confusing. And so the first one is interesting. It's the hardest one of the hardest ones, okay? But it's not what you think it is. Communicate your mistakes in the dynamic directly and actively work on it. Why does this have to do with them disrespecting you? Because it shows 2 things. It shows you take accountability, which means you have self-worth, okay? And it puts change in the idea of the avoidance mind, okay? I'm saying this as someone who used to be avoidant and I know how this works because this is exactly one of the main things that started happening when I was changing. I saw other people changing other things. Like it's kind of hard to explain, but that's why I'm trying to tell you. When you actively put the concept of change in avoidance mind and you take it in such an easy way, you communicate your mistakes clearly and you work on it, they start thinking, oh, change is not a bad thing. It's not like a triggering, offensive thing, right? Because that's how it felt like. I'm not even trying to mock an avoidant. I'm almost like mocking my previous self because that's what it felt like, right? Anytime someone told me to change, I would be so defensive and triggered and whatever because I'm like, okay, so you don't like me the way I am, so I'm a flaw. And it's like, that's not what they're trying to say at all. But I took it like some type of way, right? And so when they see that you don't take it like that, they kind of get a flashlight on themselves. Oh, that's how you're supposed to do it? Okay. Yeah, I kind of see that change is like a normal, it doesn't mean that something's wrong with me. Change is okay, right? They start getting comfortable with the concept of change. And why this is really important is you start communicating change is okay. In this relationship, change is part of life, but it's not in a triggering, pressuring, forceful way. It's a good, positive thing. It shows that you respect yourself and you respect them, which is why you're making that change. They will mimic that, okay? And so let's give an example. I know I tend to give you the silent treatment when I'm mad and I'm working on communicating better. I think a part of it is I'm over investing. And so I want to back off a little bit, right? I feel when I overinvest, I get frustrated that you don't meet me where I'm at. So I'm deciding, so that I don't give you the silent treatment, I want to give a little bit of space. I will still text you and I'll still be there for you, but I also want to focus on my hobbies and myself. So you have stated that I want to change. I made mistakes. I give you a silent treatment and I realize why I give you the silent treatment. It's because I overinvest and I get upset. And so I'm going to stop overinvesting and I'm going to step back. I'm still going to text you, but I'm focusing on myself. Right there, you took responsibility, but you didn't fully say, okay, I'm going to change. I guess I'm the only person that changes, and becoming very resentful of it. No, you were clear, you took responsibility, and you gave a solution. What does this do? It also makes them start thinking, okay, go ahead and invest in yourself. But when you're investing in yourself, they start realizing, okay, I can kind of see what you mean. You were overinvesting, because now I can really see the difference, right? It's not like you're giving them the silent treatment or punishing them. You're just saying, this is a little much for me. Let me back off a little bit. They see that gap and they think, oh, you were overinvesting. In order for me to get that back as the avoidant, right? In order for me to get back your love and your care the same way it used to be, it means that I have to invest a little bit. And so they will start doing that, okay? The next one is put effort into changing the dynamic on your end, regardless of what you said you want to change. Regardless of that specific thing you want to change. Maybe you said the silent treatment, but that's not all you want to fix. You want to fix other things. You want to focus on your hobbies. You want to focus on your friends. You want to invest in other things that gives you the opportunity to be a better version of yourself. And so what's actually happening is you're not just changing that one thing. You're changing yourself. Doesn't mean you're backing off from them. But why does this help regain yourself? What starts happening is the avoidant gets two things that hit them. Whether they're going to admit it or not, that's another thing. They will eventually, though. Promise you they will. They start thinking, okay, I kind of miss the way you used to be, but I can't get that anymore because you're changing, and you're changing because of something I did and something that you think is healthy. Not that they're blamed, but that's what relationships are. You guys work together, and one thing a person does affects the other. And so you were giving the silent treatment, right? But part of the reason you were, this is just an example, is because they weren't giving you enough. You didn't feel like it was enough. And so you took responsibility, but you also accepted why. I gave the silent treatment. That's on me. I should work on communicating better. But the reason why I did that is overinvesting, right? We talked about that. And so this is just an example. And so you're working on other things as well. And they start realizing, oh, it wasn't just overinvesting in the silent treatment. It's also that you were giving me, maybe you were cooking me all your meals and I never said thank you. Maybe you always showed up on time and I always showed up late, the avoidant, right? They start realizing you did a lot and you're changing and taking responsibility. Maybe I need to take responsibility too. I respect that you take responsibility this easily. Let's say the avoidant, realize I don't do that. Maybe that's something I want to do too. The third one is you speak for your own opinions instead of bend to theirs. Many of you do not struggle with this. And so I will just talk on it briefly just because every call I've had with you guys, unless you do, I've told you. But if I didn't tell you, you don't. You're fine. Bending over to match the opinions of others, what happens is your true version gets lost and they have a hard time respecting you because you're not even in the equation. All that I would like, if you want to do, is speak of your own opinions because then you, the real you, let's say your name's Jason, just an example, okay? Jason is not there anymore, right? He is hidden. His opinion is not there. Someone else's opinion is there. Everyone's opinion is there. Jason is not there. He's copying Lucy's opinion, let's just say. Lucy's his girlfriend, let's just say. He copies Lucy, and he says that because he thinks, okay, my opinion, Jason's not important. I put Lucy on a pedestal. Let me give her opinion. And let me just agree to her. But what happens is Lucy is talking to Lucy. She's not getting connection to you because Jason's not there. And so what helps is if you give your own opinion, she can say, oh, this is Jason. I don't always agree with Jason, but I know who he is. I respect that, okay? And this is not just male and female. It can work either way. You could be Lucy and Lucy's the one hiding, right? And Jason is the one that you're bending opinions to. It doesn't matter. Just an example, okay? The next one is when they tell you something that they don't like, communicate respectfully, showing emotional regulation and understanding. Maybe they say, you're a little much. Instead of saying, no, you're a little much, or you don't know anything, or you're always, too critical, you can say, I appreciate that perspective. You can even say, can you let me know some examples so that I can adjust it? You took that well. And not just well, you took it emotionally regulated and with accountability. This helps a lot of people to respect you, right? It's very hard to respect someone that is always defensive, right? And we all struggle with this, right? This is human nature, but it allows you to show up as a better version for yourself, and you start respecting yourself more. The next one is you lean into things outside of them. You start leaning into your hobbies. You start leaning into the things you absolutely love in life, right? Your friends, your hobbies. Maybe you're trying out a new volunteer opportunity. Maybe you're trying to apply for new jobs. Whatever it is, you're starting to get out there, building new skills, and you start realizing that you do like the version you are. Because a lot of people who do this or who struggle with this, part of it is they don't like who they are. And it makes me sad to say that, because you guys are all great people. But sometimes you don't think that you deserve the time and effort it takes to enjoy. Honestly. And so I want you to do that. So that is the next one. The sixth one is begin communicating more directly. I don't like that. I like this. I appreciate that you did this, but maybe next time we could do A, B, and C. Communicate directly. A lot of you guys are afraid to communicate directly because if they say no, that hurts you and you feel embarrassed and rejected. So you don't want to say it. You'll rather give a silent treatment. You'll rather go quiet for a couple days instead of saying, I don't like this. That hurt my feelings. Do this. You think that's worse than going quiet. But the reality is, if you don't communicate, no one knows what you want. That's life. I wish it wasn't that way, but you have to tell people. And the next one is to stop over-explaining yourself when you want to do something. Maybe outside of the relationship. You can still communicate it. I'm going to the park this afternoon. You can come with me. You don't have to say, I'm going to the park. If you want to come, you can. You don't have to. I'm not trying to pressure you. If they need the reassurance, I get it. Like some people actually literally need that. Avoidance might need that. But it could be over-explaining yourself like, I'm mad at you, so I'm not going to talk to you. You don't care about me. Maybe we should break up because you don't actually care. So you're explaining all your mechanisms. If you really want to do that, just say, I'm done. I need time for myself. You can say that. Over-explaining, you're over-functioning because you're trying to give them a piece of what they can meet you with. So example is some people, I don't even know if it's called over-explaining. I could be lost in what I'm trying to say. It looks like over-explaining to me. It probably is another mechanism. Let me know. But what I see is a lot of people, they're almost like bidding and explaining what they want their partner to do without saying it directly. And so they're saying like they're almost narrating themselves while indirectly like nudging their partner. So it might be something like, I feel like you don't really care, so I'm going to take some space for myself. And it sounds like all you're doing is playing, cards with your friends, or you're watching football. And so I'm just going to do this. You're not really going to care, but it is what it is, right? So it's like a lot of different things happening at once, and you're explaining and narrating and hoping. So what I would recommend is, if you are at the moment where you're explaining something, try to understand what is the real reason you're saying it. Are you explaining because you're afraid they're going to get mad at you? Are you explaining because you want to kind of nudge them in your direction? Are you explaining because you feel like you don't deserve whatever you're saying? So if any of those things I brought up is the reason, try to dial it back a little. Instead, just say what you need to. And if you don't actually mean that, don't say it at all. Instead, explain the feeling you feel, what you really want, the outcome. Say that instead. And so I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.